Welcome to the Build with Boundaries podcast. My name is Manaz, and this podcast is for mums who want to carve out time so that you can work in ways that work for you, your life, your family, and of course your business. Together, we will discover why you are not prioritizing your business and the actions that you can take so you can live an intentional, productive, and fulfilled life without mum guilt. So let's dive in to today's episode.
Hey, we're back for another episode. So, efficient time management tips is what we are talking about today. And this whole concept of managing your time effectively, it can feel like we just don't have enough time for everything that we want to give our attention to. And that can lead us into feeling in the state of lack. And that is so not helpful because we just feel very negative about time. Whereas if we can turn that around and look at having time as being opportunities and what we can do with that time, like we have got some level of control over that, even though it might not feel like that. You know, you have so many things going on in your life, in your business, in your personal life, with family, that it can just cloud everything, every minute of the day. And that's not helpful, and it's definitely not going to make us feel productive at all. So it's important for us to think about time in a different way that actually helps us, taking the pressure and the burden off, where we feel like we are using our time wisely and we are giving it to the areas that we need to give it to without feeling overloaded all of the time. I think it's really important to understand and think about our whole mindset about time, because we do use time as an excuse usually when we say we don't have enough time. So if you've ever heard yourself saying that, just take a moment of reflection and catch yourself next time you think that, never mind say it, and ask yourself why you're saying that. Why is that thing something you don't want to prioritize? Because usually we can use time as a reason to not give it a focus, not give that thing a focus, because we don't want to prioritize it. And on the other hand, anything that we do want to give our time to, we'll definitely prioritize. You know, if something comes up for our children, if it comes up in business, something that's really urgent, all of a sudden that pressure is on, but we are not going to let that slip, right? So that means we're going to focus on it, we're going to prioritize it, we're going to give it our time. And in the same way, if we're working in all areas of our life in this way, then it can be very beneficial because we will stay focused and clear on our priority. And our day can get quite muddled up with so many things happening, different conversations taking place, perhaps even spending too much time on social, so your mind ends up in a bit of overdrive. And that's not always helpful, because then we are thinking about what's being said, what's being commented, what's being shared, and it's not necessarily something that we need to deal with. And just giving ourselves too much time on that can really affect us. And I guess we are not going to know what the benefit of being away from that is until we actually try it and do it. So that's the kind of difficult piece, because it will be habits that we form in the sense of how much time we're spending on different things that we don't really notice. So I think first thing is being efficient at your time management isn't something that we can just talk about a particular strategy and say, right, you do this and you have it nailed, everything will work like magic. It doesn't work like that, because we've got so many different moving parts in our day and things that can happen and things that do happen, we need to have a much more holistic view of our day. And sometimes we can't see that even though it's in front of us. Just understanding that we could have fallen into those patterns and habits that we're not recognizing that are actually affecting us even more and not being efficient. And recognizing those is something that can take time, it can need support, you might need someone to look from the outside in to be able to share that with you. And there's nothing wrong with that, because we're human beings and we are creatures of habit. So when we do things on autopilot, we are not consciously acknowledging it as it's happening. What are things that we can do? So there are things that you could start with and start kind of progressing so you're moving in the right direction. And I think always with anything to do with time, I always say that planning how you're going to use your time is super, super important, because when we plan things, we know what route we're taking, we know what's on our map. And when we can't see that and we just dive right in, we probably don't spend our time wisely. Now, a famous quote that comes to mind is from Abraham Lincoln: "If I had 8 hours to chop down a tree, I would spend 6 hours sharpening my axe." That in itself is just sharing with us the power of preparation, is doing things in advance of doing the actual work. We need to make sure we have the right plan and having a view on what it is that you need and being able to focus on that. So spending time planning isn't wasted, it just means it speeds you up when you're actually doing the work. I want to share with you 2 things that you can do every single day, and this can be really helpful. So you will have some sort of to-do list, but let's talk about the concept of having a focused to-do list. A to-do list can be something that we just throw everything we need to do on it. But having a focused to-do list is where we take what's on our to-do list and we back that up with how important it is, thinking about what we need to work on, what our goals are, what would help you to get there faster or actually make progress, rather than having all these things to tick off. So create a focused to-do list. So rather than having like 100 things on it, what if you were to have a focused to-do list instead? How would that look like? What would that look like for you? And secondly, I want to share that every single week, having a think of what are my top 3 priorities. So next week, for example, planning what am I going to be working on next week, and have an idea and not spread yourself too much, because if we give ourselves too many things, we won't actually make significant progress on each. And if you bring that into your plan, then it means that you know the 3 areas you want to work on, the 3 tasks or the priorities, however you have narrowed that down. And it's not about like I'm going to complete X, it could just be making progress in those areas. I think we get caught up in thinking that we have to complete something before we can tick that off, but real progress will happen when we are consistently taking steps forward. So bring that into your next week and see how that works for you. Begin your day with looking at your focused to-do list and keep in your mind the top 3 priorities that you've picked for that week. And you want to ensure that the time that you're spending is on the things that actually matter. And that's the whole point, that we can get busy and on this hamster wheel of just doing and doing, but we need to be backing that up with where we're trying to go and what is most efficient for us. So if you are looking for finding out more ways that you can harmonise your business. How can you work more efficiently and effectively, then do take a look at my resources. There will be links in the show notes, so do take a look at my overwhelm-free weekly action plan, because that will be super helpful to get you going and get rid of all of that overloaded feeling. So good luck with that, and do let me know how you get on. As always, I do value your feedback on these podcasts, so I would love for you to review, send me a message, let me know what you think of this so I can do more of the things that you enjoy listening to. So thanks for listening, and see you next time. Stop going nuts trying to focus on multiple things and achieving nothing. Have you ever felt like the filling in a sandwich, squeezed, stressed, surrounded by pressure, unable to prioritise your business dreams? Now, if you feel overwhelmed and torn between building your business and caring for your loved ones, then your business dreams do not have to come last. I've put together an overwhelm-free weekly action plan for busy business mums. You are simply one action away from a whole new perspective. This is where it all begins to start creating a snowball effect. All you need to do is download my weekly action plan, and the link will be in the comments or the podcast description.